Hello everyone, this is KF7032 Big Data module. This is week 3. This week we will talk about big data. I think most of us have heard of big data in many ways. In today's session, we will cover 4 parts regarding to big data. Firstly is the big data and its challenges. Here we will learn what is big data and what are the challenges big data has brought to us. We will also learn how we manage large-scale data. Thirdly, we will learn infrastructure which help us to store, process, and analyze big data. We will also learn data mining techniques and algorithms in terms of processing data, in terms of analyze data, in terms of machine learning, which deal with large-scale data, and finally, how we can process interactive analysis and visualization to big data. I think most of us have heard of big data. The first impression is that the data volume is huge. At the moment, the scale of big data is moving from tickbyte to petabytes, which means larger and larger amount of data is generating. Velocity, which is timely processing of big data. The reason is when you do online transaction or make a decision making for big data, most of the time we need to make a decision in a timely manner. For example, if we want to make a prediction for marketing, if we can analyze 500 million transactions in 5 minutes, this will be acceptable in reality. But if we can only find out information in the data set within 5 hours, it may be too late. So we have to process data in a timely manner, especially in lots of online transactions. The data is generating all the time. If we couldn't process the data in sufficiently, the delay will make our findings less informatic to the related decision making. This is related to online analysis and data stream mining. Data stream mining is a concept in data science which is considering the ongoing data stream rather than static or historic data. The interesting about data stream mining is that we are looking at the changes or pattern in data stream. Because data comes in a high speed, so time information is related to the decision making. Variety brings idea to the different source of information. not only from numerical data, for example, temperature change, but also other unstructured or semi-structured data type. For example, video, text, or data stream. The different source of information will bring the research area of data fusion. Data fusion tries to find agreed information from different sources of data. In reality, you may find a different source of information bring different ideas or complement each other or contradict to each other. So the research area of data fusion is trying to find out, even in some cases, the data from different sources are not consistent, what would be appropriate method to find the most possible reliable information from inconsistent or missing data. Value is also an important topic about big data. Normally, in big data, there are a lot of irrelevant information in big data. For example, temperature changes. We know that in most cases, the temperature changes, like for outdoor environment, will remain consistently stable until, in rare cases, unexpected event happened. So, in most cases, weather temperature can generate a lot amount of data which give us limited amount of information. Therefore, it's very important we can make mining from big data to try to find valuable information. Another example is CCTV monitoring. Because we know that video normally generate a large amount of data because that is video. However, if we look at the video for weeks or for months, probably we only find 1 or 2 minutes of video which contains information interesting to certain parties. For example, police or doctor, for example. So data mining plays an important role to have us find out what are valuable information from big data. That is why this module, in the later part, we need to learn data mining. Finally, there is a question about a truth or reality of data. As we know, in large-scale deployment of information system, for example, Internet of Things, we have thousands, millions of sensors. Some sensors have fault which may generate inaccurate or wrong data. So this is our role to detect what are the incorrect data, how are we going to find out the incorrect data, and which we can also considering related information to incorrect sensor, for example, engineering fault, which will have us make more accurate decision making. So where is big data coming from. So in recent years, the big data problem become clearer. There are at least 3 sources of places which generate huge amount of data. First is your mobile phone. So according to recent survey, so in average, every user generates about 60 gigabytes per year. So we have 6 billion devices, all different kinds. So we generate and stored in our phone a huge amount of data, which actually give us a lot of information. At the moment, we are not capable to analyze them all in a timely way. So a lot of data waste or lost. Another area which generates a huge amount of data is Internet of Things. For example, in smart manufacturing and smart production sectors, a lot of sensors installed to monitoring production line, to monitoring devices running, to monitoring the production line, and monitoring the products, and if check the package is correct or not, which include sensor data, video, image analysis. So the recent prediction says that by the end of this year, the IoT generated over 4 trillion gig of data in the world. And the third area is social media. Social media is getting even more popular in recent years, probably because of the lockdown and the social distance. As far as by April this year, we have found that more than 50% of data has been added in a couple of years. 80% of this data are from unstructured source, such as social media. So social media has made a big contribution to the big data challenges. You can see that, in fact, although in one hand, big data is become bigger and more complex, on the other hand, our capability to store and analyze data is still limited. For example, if you play your smartphone, you can do some intelligent things to have you manage classroom, manage your timetable, to make online transaction, etc., or monitor your health. For the end of the day, it cannot do more intelligent things. For example, have you plan your day, and have you manage your study in more efficient way, etc., based on your user data. So that is the things we need to look at. Given the big data, what is big deal, what is the challenge, and what we need to solve. There are some opportunity which has bring to us. For example, smart cities, which is big data, of course, and the data has been published in the public domain for people to analyze data. For example, crime data, and also other data about the city, about the traffic, health, and the building, etc. So there are two concepts related to big data. One is big data. We have already discussed. And also, what is massive data? So big data bring challenge to us, which is difficult to manage, collect, or don't fit our existing data mining machine learning technologies. So for example, this is a big data for different cities. So one is New York, one is Beijing. So they all have problems regarding to collect, clean, and compare. Compare is one way of analyze data. For example, they have different time scale in a day. So they have image analysis, which you can find in some time this area is less busy, and in different time they have different patterns. So we need to process them timely, and they are very complicated information. We analyze and we try to understand, for example, what is the shortest distance if I travel during certain hour to airport, for example. Given the current traffic, what is the best approach to go to airport? So this is a summary of weekly pattern. So in weekday and the weekend, we can see that in weekday and the weekend, there are different patterns. So based on accumulated data. So basically for this kind of analysis is very preliminary. We just need to do summarization, aggregation, and for example also consider about the time, frequency, etc. So they are not automatic process, but the most time based on the experience, expertise, and the demand of demand of information from data. So they are not generated automatically. Say, oh, this is interesting pattern. But maybe we can find some data mining. We will learn later this module, which will be able to do that. So probably you have heard of computational complexity. So here is about a scalability of computation. So if we have 1 TB data, and on the other hand we have 100 TB data, do we need 100 more computational resources or not? So it's not as simple as that. So we probably need to think about distributed computing parallel process. So there are rapidly evolving technology to address these challenges. Different computer model requires different data mining algorithm. For example, if we want to look at we want to group things to separate things to group them in different groups. Sorry, we probably use clustering. If we want to sort things in terms of class, probably we need a classification. So this gives us some idea about data and knowledge. So let's take a break and we come back later